Someone's phone goes off, I'm taking it, throwing it against the wall.
You gonna take a young? Yes. I'm gonna lay down, go. Yeah. Wait,
Yeah, afternoon, everybody. Just a couple things. Jaden Wilson has left the team. He's going to enter the portal. He's a graduate here, and I'm proud that he's graduated from here. And if you're a graduate, you can enter the portal October 1st. So that's what he's going to do there. Desmond James, I'm suspending him this week for violation of team rules, and he'll be back next week, but he's suspended for this week. So I just wanted to open up there with that. UAB, excited to get home, first of all, excited to play in our stadium here. Looking forward to seeing all our fans. UAB defensively is a quarters coverage team, a lot of single blitzes, 4-down line. Have good linebackers. Michael Moore would be the one him and Roshaw, I think, got a really good corner in Dempsey. They had a couple transfer D tackles, got really good size on them. Defensively, and not complicated defensively. A lot of, like I said, a lot of single blitzes, whether it be a corner or whether it be from the safety. They play extremely hard, well coached. Offensively, Mortensen, a guy who I think he played here, if I'm correct, is their offensive coordinator, does a really good job. They do a lot. Go from empty to 13 to kind of a reverse bone look in the backfield. Want to run the football, I believe. Got some transfers on the offensive line, have some returning starters. Their center and left guard. Quarterback's a good player, transfer guy from Baylor. They like to throw it. He's a pocket guy. And then they've got a really good wideout in Amari Thomas, number 1, and then number 8 is their slide, and he also a really good punt returner. He returned one for a touchdown this year. The first game, their punter actually is Patrick Foley, who was here as a Hog for 2 years, and so we know he's outstanding there. But Coach Dilford does a wonderful job there, and we're excited to play him.
Right.
Yeah, Coach, looking back, I'm sure obviously you watched back the film, but it looked like maybe 5 plays go a different way. Any of those 5 plays, you guys win.
Yeah, I think there's some things we certainly learn, or we're going to learn from the game. There were some crucial plays. We had a couple of MAs on empty protection, and we had guy wide open across the crossing route. Well, Satagna for the first one, I think probably would have scored on, and then there on 4th down, 4th and 5, we had it's a sort. You get the 2 of the 3 on your side in a man slide scheme, empty, and we sorted inside and nobody came, and the end came free. So that there was a couple of things that we can clean up as coaches. We took 2 critical sacks there. We had 3, but we took 2 critical ones in situations where we gave away points, and made certainly the overtime made the kick more difficult. Obviously, we've got to make our kicks. There wasn't anything, I don't think, that we ask our kids there to do that we can't make and that we haven't made in practice. Defensively, the trick play, the flea flicker was the big one for them. I thought we did a really good job of controlling their run game, but you're right. There was a few, the muff punt where, Cross got, tripped up and he was too close the first time. The great thing about the tablets on the sideline is you can show them. And the first time it happened, and then, he fell into Isaiah the next time. So we've got to certainly get that cleaned up. Penalty wise, we had 6 again. You know, probably the critical one was picking up the guy and slamming him to the ground, which would have been a 3rd and 9 and turned out to be a first down. No telling what would happen. You know, you can always speculate what would have happened, but certainly don't want to do that. So there was some key plays there. The toss play, you know, we respect Oklahoma State. They really didn't stop us a whole lot. We kind of stopped ourselves, and and I think they've got a really good team, but we inflicted our own wounds with, you know, with 3 turnovers and there we got a turnover, but it was no, I'm not gonna say it was insignificant because it certainly was. It got us back the ball, but it was right there. They were throwing it up right before the half, you know. So we left a lot of points out there, and so we've got to figure out how to finish drive. Now, with that said, 638 yards offense and all that, we just have to find a way to finish drives and not have those critical, as you just stated, problems. I think we've got a really good team. I love this team. I think they played extremely hard. We just made some mistakes that cost us the game.
Looked like on that last drive, with 55 seconds left in regulation, you guys moved all the way down the field, but it looked like there was some time that you guys could have saved maybe.
Yeah. There was
talk
2 of them on that, Trey. The first one was we ran the ball to get the first down on 3rd and 2. We got a 8-yard out of bounds, incompletion. And I don't know what we got on that, maybe 6 or 7 yards. We got a first down. We didn't get lined up. We had some communication problem there of getting lined up. So once that happened, we decided just to kill it. I think it was on that drive. I don't think it was at the half, but so we decided to kill it. So we wasted 15 seconds from the time the play before started to the time the other one was snapped. Probably 7 is probably what we wasted where we could have snapped the football. 7 crucial seconds at that point in time. And then there at the very end of the game, we had 12 seconds left, and we could have got, you know, when you're concerned about distance, you know, for kicking a ball, you're trying to get as much as you can, but you're also trying to give an opportunity to kick it. And again, we were very slow with our operation on that and almost ran out of time. So we elected to, you know, do a short route, get the ball out of bounds, try to grab another 5 yards. We had 12 seconds, but by the time we snapped the ball, we did not. We had about 6. And so it was too close, and probably hindsight, we probably should have killed it. But the problem is once you get under 15, if you kill it, you're going to lose 2 or 3 seconds, and then you're going, okay, what are we going to do? But if we, in hindsight, we probably would have killed that last one and then decided, hey, are we going to try to steal 5 on them on a quick out, or are we just going to kick the field goal? And fortunately, he went out. I don't want anybody, we all know that Kyle had a hard day, but he also got us into overtime, and we certainly had our chances to win the game there, even with you know, the missed field goal of trying to get up 11.
Sam, you kind of answered my question, but on the Cross Johnson get blocked into Isaiah, is there some way for Isaiah to alert those guys he's fair catcher? Because they really don't need to be blocked if it's a fair catch.
Well, he should be. We all should be keying the returner as we're coming down, and we didn't. I thought the second one, he was more aware of where he was, but he's still way too close. Same thing when we had the ball on the ground with our call to get away from the ball. Our returner will make a call that lets him know that he's fair catching it.
Were you a little surprised that your defense didn't get more pressure on the quarterback Saturday?
I think if you talk about the game and you're going, okay, we're defensively, you know, where can we can get better everywhere, but you're going, you know, what happened? We didn't get to it. Now part of that is they've got a good protecting offensive line. But we've got to be better than that. The guy was pretty clean for the entire game. Now, going into the game, we said that he gets rid of the ball extremely fast. So we said, hey, don't get frustrated if we can't, if we're not tagging him, if we're not sacking him. But he held the ball. We also said the first game that he held the ball a lot longer than what he ever did last year. So we thought, well, maybe we can get there because he's not throwing it so fast. That's one area, and I've already addressed that with Deke and yesterday that we've got to win one-on-ones up front, and we did not on Saturday.
I think Sori and TJ probably had a mistake or two along the way in the game, but do you feel like overall, I mean, they had 25 tackles between the two of them. Were you pretty pleased with those two guys?
Very pleased, both of them. And TJ Metcalf has just continued to get better and better and better. And he is a great tackler. I mean, he had some open field tackles that, a lot of guys don't make. Sori was everywhere. Now he did make some mistakes. But he was everywhere, fast, running down guys, played physical, missed a tackle here and there. We're going to do that. But he's a really good player, really good. Both of them. Sori's can be really, really good.
It looks like UAB wants to do the quick pass game too, pretty much get that guy in a rhythm. What did Monroe do that kept them from maybe finding their rhythm?
Well, I think if you look at it, the first game, Alcorn, they were what I thought they, were going to be from last year, 3 and 4 wides, bunches, jet sweeps. And then going against Monroe, they were more of a power running team, big sets, tight ends, multiple tight ends. And then after that didn't seem to work as good, then they went back to their, dink and dunk and screens and bubbles but I felt like watching the game, it was almost two separate type offenses, one from the first game and one from the second game.
Wanted to ask you about Cuddy Robinson. What happened with him in that game and what's his?
Yeah, I got a stinger in pregame and went numb. And, a lot of times that'll come back pretty fast. It did not. And so he'll be out at practice today, and I feel he'll be in the green, but we'll stay away from him. But it was unfortunate. Just hit the wrong way and went numb on one side or the other, but he's going to be back. But that's what happened.
The only other time you guys played UAB was 2014, I believe, and you were here. And I'm just thinking back to how I felt at that time, and it felt like you were a team on the come.
Yeah.
And I wonder if maybe you can apply that to now, that what you saw last week, that maybe we're building again.
Man, I'm so excited about the football team. I just am. Excited both sides. I mean, the guys are coaching them so well, and I'm just I'm so excited, and it feels a little bit like the UAB. Tortola. That was the old Tortola touchdown. And then they did a little video of him. For the Heisman. I thought it was really cool. But of course I was O-line coach, but yeah, it feels that way. I don't think anybody that watched the game thinks that we don't have a good football team. We've made some mistakes, and we've got to hold on to the football. You can't go into somebody's house and go 3-1 or 3-0, miss the field goals and walk out of there winning. But we understand that, and we're going to flush that after the tape today and head towards UAB. But yes, I feel as good about this team as I have any, and we'll see what comes in weeks to come. But yeah, to answer your question, yes.
We saw Hudson Clark go to the locker room pretty early. Just what's his status?
Back. He hurt his back. He did come back and played special teams, but he didn't, I don't think he felt well enough to play defensively, but he did play on kickoff and kickoff return and a few reps on field goal block. But he's got a sore back, and we went to get an MRI today. As of this time, I haven't got the results of that, but he came in for treatment yesterday, and I love the kid. I mean, he was playing really well too on defense. Had a really nice pass breakup, but we'll see. Thank you for asking, but we'll see.
Are you still optimistic about getting Kudus back in the next few weeks, or where's he at?
I'm an optimist. I don't know if I'm optimistic about him getting back anytime soon. I don't believe he'll play this week, to be honest with you. Let me think about some other injuries real quick before you ask me. It was a physical game. We were beat up a little bit, but I can't think of anybody besides the one y'all's asked me about that I don't think will be ready to play on Saturday.
JJ with the cramps, he'll be good to go. Jackson.
Yeah, he'll be fine. He didn't. I thought he would IV after the game and all that, but he didn't. So he'll be fine.
How much did that hurt you in the second half, Coach, having to go away from a little bit of the physical game you were using in the first half, and you didn't have him in overtime? Well,
anytime you have a back that's, I don't know what he's averaging. He's probably averaging 6, 7 yards a carry. That's a big physical guy that can run over you, make you miss. Obviously, you want your number ones in the game when a game's on the line. But we're comfortable with our other backs as well. We didn't get Braylon in. We've got to do that. We got to get him in the game early.
I was going to ask if Dabinian might be back in the mix for you soon too. That was the last one.
Well, he's got to practice. He hadn't practiced as well, and he has to practice. And he's healthy right now, and so if he practices well, he'll certainly be in the mix.
On the 4th and 5 play where you ended up going for it rather than try a field goal, was there communication between you and Bobby before that? Did he have a play he liked? Was he kind of I don't know what he feels about kickers, but what all went into that decision there?
No, just you had 7 minutes left in the game. I don't know that we'd had many plays at that point in time that didn't go for 5 yards. We were tied. Obviously, in my mind, we'd just missed a field goal from the same distance. It was going to be about 42. We were on 25. And it wasn't a slow decision. I was thinking about it. Now, the only thing I didn't tell Bobby he had 2 plays. I didn't say that. But right when we went to 4th and 5, I said, let's go for it. And I just felt at that point, if we score, we put a hell of a lot of pressure on them. If we don't, they still have a long way to go. Our defense has been playing pretty good. And I'll be honest, I've been here a long time, and I've second guessed not as much as everybody has, but I've second guessed myself a lot as a head coach here, and I think every coach does. I'll be honest with you, that one I do not. That one I felt like it was the right thing to do, and I thought we could really get some momentum there. And honestly, I thought our chances of making the 4th and 5 were every bit as good as making a field goal. And if we did, I thought we could get to 7 and really put pressure on Oklahoma State.
I think you guys played somewhere between 35, 40 players. Is that a number you're comfortable with? Would you like that to get increased moving forward?
As we talked yesterday, I think we have to play more players. Now, it was hot on Saturday, but we also played 90-some snaps on offense. So we talked about getting some other guys in the game earlier. We've got to be a little more, we got to be stronger in the 4th quarter. And we played a lot of guys, a lot of reps, and probably wore out a little bit towards the end. So our deal is we're going to have to play a few more than that early.
Did you learn anything new about Talon? Yes, he first time in a big kind of road environment like that. Had a couple mistakes, but he also, when you had to have it there, he got you guys into a position to kick that game-tying field goal. What did you maybe assess his overall performance?
Well, he's playing his tail off. I think, when we talked about it, especially offensively, when we're in there and Bobby said it probably the best in that, those guys know about their team. They've got 18 guys that's been back, and he said, we're still learning about ours, as we're sitting there talking about it. I thought about it. Makes a lot of sense. You're asking, there's a lot of new guys, Jaquindon, and just a lot, or O-line and so we're learning a little bit about each one of them. But Talon, I think going into that environment, I wish we had like one more game before we went and played Oklahoma State, to be perfectly honest with you. The first one, we really didn't get tested at all, and then if we had a little bit better team, maybe if we, but I think we'd have learned a little bit more, maybe been able, but I think Talon, what you think about him, he's really a good player, can make things happen that maybe not are there, throws the ball well. I think he also got tired, and it might have showed on some of the throws there later, and trying to get away from pressure that he might have earlier thrown that ball away. But he's a fantastic player. I wouldn't trade him for anybody out there that somebody wants to trade. I'm not trading.
Couple of health questions. I think Luke has, and Jalen Braxton may have also gotten dinged up during the game. Are they good to go?
You said Luke and Jaden
Yeah,
Johnson.
Braxton.
Oh, Braxton. Braxton's fighting some tendonitis, so we've got to be smart with him at practice. So that's what that was. And then Luke's fine.
And then also, after watching the film, I'm curious with the field goals, was there anything with the operation that was good, or was it just kind of simply a mistake?
No, and the problem is we weren't hitting the ball. If you hit a ball, it goes, like that, and if you miss it, it goes, and we weren't hitting it, and that's probably played into it a little bit more than even right or left. If you're not hitting it, you got more problems than just direction, and we just weren't hitting the ball.
And you mentioned the issue with the snaps after the game. I'm curious, after watching the film, was there anything you noticed with that? And is that something that's flared up at all in practice?
No, it was low and hard. And it was low and hard. And Talon, if you ask him, he'd probably say it was his fault. You know what I mean? Because that's who he is. But it's hard to catch. You're six, whatever he is, 6'7", and try to catch a ball below your knees humming at you. It was low and hard. We've got to get that corrected, because that, to me, stalled a drive as much as Oklahoma State's defense did.
Landon's off to a little bit of a slow start. Were they doubling him a lot, or what's going on with Landon?
I think what's happening with him, I think you're seeing that he's getting chipped a bunch. This team slid to him a lot in pass protection, which means you basically are double teaming him. When they didn't, they were coming off and chipping him. So until somebody else sparks, that people going, man, I got to really worry about that guy. They're going to continue to do that. Now, T. Will can take some pressure off him and with some internals and do some things like that. It's just like Oklahoma State with their kid. They were twisting him inside and all that, trying to get him away from that action, those doubles, those chips. We've done some of that with him as well. But he's played really good defensive against the run. He just hadn't got to the quarterback yet, but I think that's coming.
Coach, you got Andrew Armstrong back, just having him back in the lineup and being able to use him as a weapon. And then there were a couple throws with Talon where he put it high for those guys to go up and get, which was really impressive. Just how has that worked with those wide receivers?
And I think you see the trust that, developed from spring ball, summer, preseason, before Andrew, pulled his ham a little bit. And I think you saw that come out. Armstrong's a really good player. Talon is too, but quarterback receivers have that relationship of, okay, I'm going to get open so you can throw it to me. And I think that's what they have. The great thing about Andrew, I thought he did was I thought he ran exceptionally with the ball in his hand, and he ran really good routes to get open, and he caught the ball, extremely well. So I was real proud. It was a big day. I think it's 10 catches for 160 some. I think Burks was a guy who did better than that maybe 2 and 3 years ago, but he had a great game. And you asked me something else too. I'm sorry.
Just being able to kind of put it up there early.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Taylor at times, we expect him to complete every pass. The NFL guys don't do that, but he completes a bunch, and some of his throws are fantastic. And like I say, I wouldn't trade either one of them, though. But I'm not gonna trade the quarterbacks. We're about 650 yards a game, and he's really doing a nice job and knows where to throw the football.
Back to looking at some of the tape when you looked at it, there were a lot of big second and longs, third and longs that you guys converted.
Big, the protection was pretty good. Our protection broke down when we went empty or when they went total. And we had a really good game plan going into the game against total blitz. And then we checked, and then they bailed on us one time where Taylor just made it happen. He went to the right, and I think it was Andrew that he hit. But I can't remember what you asked. What'd you ask?
Just converting third down.
Yeah. But we've done that all year. The biggest one was Tesla's to me. I mean, he did that. He's done that twice now, and it was such a wonderful catch. We got to play him more. Yeah, he's a good player. But that was a huge third down for us, and turned out to have a touchdown off of it. But we have done that this year. I hope we continue to do that.
As well as you played defensively, is QB pressure and then the takeaways that maybe result next level for you guys?
That's what we have to do. I mean, we have one turnover in 2 games, and I think we've had 1 sack, if I'm correct. I think Nico had a sack or Bradshaw maybe in the first game, but I don't believe we've had another one. And so we have to pressure. I believe we will. We're very aware of that as well, and we've got to get better D line of rushing, but at the same time, we may have to pressure a little bit more as well.
I was just wondering on Braylon. I don't think we saw Braylon at all. And I get using 2 backs, but I don't know. I thought we'd see him maybe a little.
Yeah. To be honest with you, we planned on playing him. We just didn't. Again, Trey, it's like when you're coaching O-line or anything, you've got to get the kids in early in the game. And then what happens, the game's going, for our way, it was going well, and so you're going, well, I don't want to mess up this vibe, and then you don't get to it. Well, then as you get later in the game, you're going, well, this guy, he doesn't have the experience, so I don't really want to put him in the game. We had a very good conversation about we got to get these kids in the game early, no matter what's happening, get them in the game, unless we don't think they can help us win. But if we think they can help us win, we have to get them in the game. And then based off the performance of where they're at in the game, what they did, then you'll feel more comfortable. Either you'll know, let's put him back in there, or man, he's not ready yet. Let's get another week of practice, see where he's at. And that's really what happened with Braylon. And but I believe in him. We just got to get him in the game faster so we can rest JJ some, and more than just with Rodney, and bring a bigger one in there, and that's what happened.
Like Jaquinham, like maybe right around mid 3rd quarter, looked like he started when the cramps started. What did you guys identify on that, and just what do you do to avoid it? Just as much water as possible.
Well, everybody will tell you about 48 hours before the game, you have to start hydrating like a son of a gun. It was hotter than what we thought it was going to be, but that has nothing to do with that. When you have You know, JJ didn't play in either scrimmage, and he was hurt in fall camp. You know, so he didn't have the opportunity to. There's such thing as shape and then football shape, and then you guys know, look, a lot of athletes in here. You played football and then you went to basketball. Well, you thought you were in shape and then you weren't whenever they did them gassers, you know. It's the same way with off season, being in shape, and then you have to get in football shape. And I think he lost some of that, and he's you know, because of his injury and because of missing the scrimmages, because that's when you get pushed the most. But I think he's going to be just fine, and if he gets, you know, if he gets tired at, I don't know how many carries. What do you have? 20, 22 or something like that. How many carries do you have? Yeah, so that's a lot, and it was hot, so there'd be a lot of guys probably get tired at that point. But we got to continue to work him a little bit extra so he can go a little bit longer.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.